Hello, Patrick Munoz here, live from West Hollywood, California, doing my first Instagram Live, and I'm super excited about it. And there's a reason why I am doing this today, and that is because I want to answer questions that I've been asked about my new audiobook, 51 Affirmations for Being a Powerful Speaker. I'm super excited about this book because affirmations, I've discovered, are a wonderful way to get people to speak with a stronger voice. And what I've done is taken my favorite 51 affirmations and gotten them down in this book, and that you can repeat them. And I have a whole 3 different sections that you'll go through, and I'm excited to talk about those today. But I want to get right to your questions you've been asking about this book. So the first question is, I'm a professional. I'm 28 years old, but my voice sounds like a little girl. So many people come to me with this problem, with this issue. Whether they're male or female, they're still talking in a voice that sounds like when they were a little kid. And, when you're born, you learn to speak because you start to model yourself after your parents, your teachers, other friends. And unless you have a speech problem, unless you had a strong lisp, or you were a stutterer, or you mumbled excessively, perhaps you had hearing issues, in which case you would have been sent to a speech therapist most likely, and you would have learned how to use your voice. They would have given you exercises so you could learn to get over those issues. But if that wasn't the case, it's sort of like anything else, walking. Once you learn how to do it, you kind of take it for granted. So when you are learning this speaking, and we take it for granted so much, it's sort of like you're driving around in a Toyota Corolla, a great car. You're a little kid driving around this Toyota Corolla, everything works, you get around, it's great. But then suddenly you hit puberty, and this Toyota Corolla you've been driving for all these years changes into this wonderful Ferrari, and this Ferrari has depth, and it has these different gears and this incredible engine. And, well, you start using your new Ferrari like you did use your little Toyota Corolla. You're not maximizing your voice. Nobody showed you how to use this new Ferrari. And that's what happens. We get stuck in these old patterns. We use our voice in ways that aren't really beneficial to what we're trying to achieve. So a lot of my clients come to me and their voices are still in that area, that's still that kind of that kid's area. And that's what this book is so good about, because, for instance, one of the affirmations I have in the book is affirmation number 4, where I have you repeat, I speak with power. I speak with power. Sometimes, for those of you who still speak with that younger version of yourself, it's because maybe there was some event that happened in life that caused some tension, and you kind of held on to that, or you wanted to model yourself in a way that sort of mimics your friends, or in a way that is your position in the family order, so that you were the youngest, and so you spoke in a kind of different way from everybody else. You were a little bit younger. It's a variety of reasons, but a lot of the reasons are things you haven't looked at. And that's what I love about the second part of my book, which are the explorations. And I ask this in that affirmation number 4, where I say, I speak with power. I write, what is one situation in your own life where you feel powerful? Where do you feel that power in your body? How can you use that power to support your voice? So I look at these exercises, these explorations, as ways of getting your physicality behind yourself, which is the first part of the book, the repetition of these, saying these out loud. The mental part, which is thinking about this. What are your beliefs about yourself? What are these ideas you have that you're holding on to that are getting in the way of your voice progressing? And finally, the emotional part of the voice, which is the supple, the really delicious musical part of the voice that we shy away from sometimes because our emotions get stuffed behind tensions. So that's was a great question, and this book is specifically designed to help you do that. The second question I have is, I've been at my job for 3 years and no one takes me seriously. I feel for you so much because I have so many people come to me who are working in IT, in the IT world, in the banking industry, in architectural firms. It runs the gamut. And perhaps they're just starting off on the job, or they've been there for a while, different ages, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And they have the knowledge. You have the knowledge. You even have the experience, and you have the excitement for what you're talking about. But none of those comes through in the way that you are meeting with other people. Your voice, your body language, your facial expressions aren't matching up to support all that you know and all that you want to share because, again, you've not been shown how to use your voice. The voice is so incredibly supple and powerful, and you're not alone. Most people, once we start speaking, we use our voice without thinking about it. And so often these days, we're on the cell phone, so we're talking just like this, kind of talking from the throat all the time. And we don't really go for a high or a lower. Think about all those times you've gone to a presentation by your boss or by a manager or even by an executive, and it's a very flat delivery. The tone doesn't really have any excitement. And so people aren't taking you seriously because they're kind of checking out. So in this book, we look at those different belief systems that could actually change the way that you feel about yourself so that people would take you seriously. In fact, I have a great affirmation for that, which is affirmation number 9. I speak out. I speak out, which is really incredible, just saying that. I speak out is such a powerful feeling to feel that, to say that, and believe it. And one of the questions I ask is, what is holding you back? What do you fear about speaking out? So it's a great question. You can start to be taken seriously, more seriously, and in all of these cases, it really is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once you start to act as if, and you use your voice in a way that commands respect and shows your experience and shows that you have confidence about what you know and what you want to share, people react to you differently and you start to feel differently about yourself. Question number 3. My voice does not match my looks. My voice does not match my looks. So that's really for a lot of you actors out there, although it applies in the business place as well. I'll have a lot of actors who come to me who are leading men, leading women, but their voices belie that. So their voices, again, are kind of immature. They have a kind of valley talk or whatever it is. Maybe it's even an accent. But their voice doesn't match what they look like. So that's what's great about this book is we start to really break it down into the individual parts of the voice, how you speak, how you use your voice, how you resonate your voice. And my favorite affirmation for that is number 8, I speak from my diaphragm. I speak from my diaphragm. So often that really is the underlying solution for all vocal problems, is learning, first of all, what that feels like, where your diaphragm is, how it works, and how you can tap into it naturally on a daily basis so that your voice does have depth and weight and height, which is another of my affirmations, so that you can have a voice that matches the way that you look, which in the case of a leading man or a woman has confidence, has poise, clarity. And by looking at each of these affirmations and even focusing on those affirmations that are most pertinent to your goals, you're going to be able to really dig down and start to develop that kind of voice that does match your looks. Question number 4. I love this one because this one is about the most common thing for most people, which is public speaking is my greatest fear. So many people come to me with this. Public speaking is their greatest fear. And yet, they have something that they want to achieve. Recently, I worked with somebody who does TED Talks. And not so much that it was a fear of public speaking, but knowing they could be a better public speaker. So we worked on that. Also, I've had people come to me who are in new positions in their company. And that new position requires that they make presentations to other companies, to their employees. And they have a fear about that. And that fear shows up in their voice, it shows up in their body language. Most of all, it shows up in all the preparation time before doing the speech they're going to do, or the presentation, or the interview. And it becomes a lot of really a use of time that could be so much more effective if they could get over that fear. So in my affirmations, there are a whole slew of affirmations that pertain to that. About speaking, I stand at ease, my voice is full and radiant, I support my voice with my breath, I articulate with precision. Almost everyone goes to being a good public speaker because it goes to how you think about your voice, how you use your voice, and all the different aspects of your voice. Another thing I recommend is going to Toastmasters, making yourself do that thing that you're fearful of so that you start to build up that self-esteem, that self-confidence, and you realize that there's nothing to fear at all, and that the doing of the actual thing, which is the giving of a speech, is much easier and much more satisfying than the fear you might have before you give it. Question number 5. My acting coach tells me that I am not on voice when I get emotional. So, actors, this might happen to you a lot. I know a lot of clients come to me because once you start to get emotional, let's say you start to get sad and you start to clam up and your voice starts to go like this. It might feel to you that you're using your voice in a way that's really reflective, but it's a very sort of selfish way of using your voice. Your voice is getting caught right here. You're not really expressing yourself. Mostly that's because you're tightening up. You're not speaking from the diaphragm. You don't really have that connection to your voice, that relationship with your voice that this book is all about. In 51 Affirmations for Being a Powerful Speaker, it's about developing a relationship with your voice so you really feel as though you can depend upon it. You have a relationship where you can trust it, you know the insides and outs, and you know that it's going to show up for you when you need it. So another example of the voice, not being on voice, which means, to me, having a certain resonance, a certain ease, an openness, vitality, articulation, clarity, is when you're angry. And the same thing happens. You start to get really angry and you close off here and this all gets tightened up here and you feel like, oh yeah, I'm really angry. But what is that like compared to being angry like this, where you really use your voice? Doesn't mean you have to be loud, but you can be centered and angry and really use your voice. You can still get tight, but you can do get tight in a way that you're not cutting off those emotions. For my actors, so many of you have the emotions here, maybe even here. It's wonderful. That's that gift. Being able to feel them in your gut, feel the emotions throughout your whole body, and live in those emotions and share those is going to change your career. Quite frankly, it will change your career once you're able to break out of that. So in all of these different affirmations I have, which is one of my favorite affirmations for this would be my voice is centered in my body, which is affirmation number 12. My voice is centered in my body. That's so key. You're not a talking head. You're not right from here. You're not one of those people on TV that's talking right from here where it's all going like this. You're talking from your belly, from your gut, from your whole being. And that will help you be on voice in every scene with any emotion you need to experience. The next question, number 6. People are always asking me to repeat myself. I feel like I'm being loud, but this keeps happening. Well, there are a lot of different reasons that you might be being asked to repeat yourself. Could be because you mumble. Which I have an affirmation in here, which is I articulate with precision, which is affirmation number 18. Or I articulate with ease, which is the next affirmation, number 19. Number 20, people understand every word I say. So one could be that you mumble. One could be that you speak too quietly, which we talked about, speaking to the diaphragm and speaking with clarity and speaking with a full voice. It could be because you speak too quickly. One of my affirmations talks about that. So the great thing about this audio book, and again, I always recommend seeing a highly qualified voice and speech coach, reaching out to me. I'm happy to work with you, or find somebody either that you trust that can help you so you can get an outside opinion. That's going to really be the change for you. But that's why I wrote this book, so you can work on your own through these affirmations and all of the little how-tos, all of the different aspects that make up a strong, powerful, confident, flexible voice. So look at these different examples and find out what it is that's making you not be understood the first time around. Really, for most of you, it's the awareness that we don't have because we take it for granted. It's sort of like walking. Once we learn to walk, we don't really think about it too much unless you're a dancer or you're in a marching band or you're rehearsing for something and you are learning, walking in a very specific way. You're in the military. For most of it, most of the time, you might be told, don't slouch your shoulders, or don't let your head drop over, or stand up tall. But when you really start to look at it, there's so many aspects of it. That's why there are Alexander teachers who teach you the Alexander method of how to speak, how to stand up tall and upright and at ease with shoulders relaxed. The same is true of the voice. Once you have an awareness of how to use the voice, that's going to help you. And if you have an awareness, that means that when you step into any situation, maybe even one where you're extremely nervous, you can still do the specifics using the tools of having a strong, confident voice so that you will be understood the first time, every time. And the last question I have is question number 7, which is, I'm shy and naturally soft-spoken. I'm 45 years old. Can I really change? Well, can I really change my voice? That's important. I love that question. If you ask any voice and speech coach, they will tell you, you can change your voice. That is the greatest gift and kind of a secret so many people don't realize. They can change their voice. And by changing their voice, they can change their life. So you're 45 years old, you're shy, you're soft-spoken, this is the way you always have been. That's wonderful. That's what makes you who you are. That's what you bring to the table. But let's say now, and this has happened to me very many times, you've stepped into this position where you're making presentations and you're in your company, you're trying to get these new accounts. And you know that you are the best. Your company, your team would be the best for this account. You have the expertise, you have the experience, you have the ability, and you have the desire to make this account happen and to do a great job for this new client. But that being very quiet gets in the way. People may not think that you have as much confidence or that you are as self-assured as that other person who's speaking with just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more pizzazz, and a little bit more presence. So, yes, do you have to change who you are? I'm not advocating that at all. What I am advocating is tapping into all that you are capable of being. I talked about this in one of my recent videos, which is code switching. We change the way we speak depending on who we're talking to. In certain situations, we speak in different ways. We're talking to our child, to our dog, to our boss, to a loved one, to a potential client. We might change slightly the way we speak. If we don't know how that works, if we haven't looked at how to do that, we're shortchanging ourselves. So again, you don't need to all of a sudden change who you are, but if you learn to use your voice, you can learn to use it in a way that shows off your best abilities and shows who you really are, who you're capable of being, and shows you in a confident way with self-esteem, with presence, and with power. So those are all the questions that I have at the moment. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can send me something on Instagram. And in order to get my new book, 51 Affirmations for Being a Powerful Speaker, which has 3 sections. The first section is the affirmations, where you'll repeat them after me in a strong, powerful way. And I recommend saying them in a way that really gets you physically going. In the second part of the book, we talk about explorations, which I've discussed somewhat here. And in the third part of the book, it's meditations. You can put them on before you go to bed or anytime maybe you're meditating for a few moments, just so they start to change your mindset. And that mindset starts to change the way you feel about yourself. And those feelings start to change the way you actually use your voice. You can get my book by going onto my website, patrickmunoz.com, right there, patrickmunoz.com, and there'll be a link to be able to buy the book and download the audiobook and start becoming a more powerful speaker and overcoming any fears or obstacles you have in becoming the best speaker you can be today.